Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special member here with us, Gabriela from UNESCO. Gabriela, welcome to MyGov.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here in India and GPAI.
That is lovely. I want to quickly ask you about GPAI itself. GPAI Summit 2023 has properly kick-started. What's the atmosphere, the environment been like up until now?
We are all excited because India, of course, is an amazing place to do these things. And I will tell you why. It's because India has the technological capacity, is a leader in developing this technology, but also has this societal conscious of how much this is not about the technologies, but about how do we use the technologies for our societies. And they are organizing this amazing summit, not only to start their presidency of the GPAI, but also to gather the inputs in a very inclusive manner. And therefore, UNESCO feels very grateful to be here to contribute to the development of the agenda of the Indian presidency of GPAI.
That's absolutely amazing to hear. Gabriela, I quickly want to ask you, what is your take or what is UNESCO's take on the Indian government's stand of AI being available, accessible to every citizen, no matter where they fall in the social strata, and not just every citizen in the country, but of the world? What's UNESCO's take on the government of India's stand on AI?
Well, this is UNESCO's take also, because let me tell you that in 2021, we got 193 countries, and India was very supportive, adopting the recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence. And what we are saying is that we need to build the framework by which the technologies deliver on promoting and enhancing human rights and human dignity, on being inclusive, on being fair, on non-discriminating, environmental sustainability, gender equality, and then we move into the how in terms of transparency, accountability, rule of law, and then into policies. And now we are implementing, and that's why we are so excited, because we have been for the last 2 years developing diagnostic tools to know where countries are. We're working with 50 countries, including India, including Brazil, the Netherlands, Spain. There are many countries with whom we are working, but then we have many other countries in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America. Half of the world doesn't have access to stable internet services. What are we talking about? The skill endowment is very skewed. We know that Indians are very good to have them at home and to export them, but in general, skills are scarce and we need to invest on those. The question of infrastructure, the question of knowledge. We are seeing that with the executive order of President Biden and the AI Acts in the EU, all of the countries are establishing institutes for AI and society because they want to understand the impact. So I feel that this drive that India is putting in ensuring that this is inclusive is something that inspires us, but more than anything, that we think that UNESCO and the ethics work can contribute massively.
Absolutely. You spoke about responsibility and accountability. This is something that India's respectable, honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, spoke about very recently as well. That is responsible usage of AI, which is also one of the top most important points of GPAI. So what's your take on that? What are the risks involved with AI and how important actually is responsible usage of AI?
Well, to really ensure responsible use of AI, we need to change the narrative that we had until now. These dichotomies that I think are false, like innovation is against regulation and regulation stifles innovation, or is a question of the governments against the private sector or the private sector, I think this is completely wrong. I think that responsibility should be the framework in which all of what we do should be framed. And this is like 101, no? This is like good governance. This is like even living in democracy. This is like when you have something that hurts your interests, your freedoms. You have recourse. You have liability regimes. You have due diligence. And for doing that, I think it's very important that we reframe the debate, as I said, and invest more in the capacities of governments to uphold those principles, because it's the governments that are in charge of the rule of law. It's the governments that are in charge of the duty of care. And therefore, it's not to convince companies or not, it's to create the incentives to have more companies delivering AI for good. I have an analogy with the climate debate. When President Biden decided to put 230 billion on renewables, he shifted the conversation. because he was signaling to the markets that he was appreciating investment on renewables for climate transition. It's exactly the same. Let's invest in those capacities, let's invest in those technologies that are going to help us. And one more thing, they're highly concentrated. We cannot have governments running their health systems or the education system on the basis of private platforms that are being developed in California or somewhere else. It needs to be endogenous. India knows how to do it, but the rest of the global south doesn't. So I feel that the leadership of India in the GPAI can bring very good benefits, and UNESCO is ready to help.
That is so lovely to hear. Gabriela, before we let you go, one last quick question. India, with all its digital boom, with the technological boom, the IT young minds, the startups, what do you think India has in store for artificial intelligence in the coming near future itself?
Well, if you can cover with digital registry the whole 1.5 billion inhabitants that you have in the last 10 years, I don't think that the sky is the limit. So we're really looking forward to the developments of India, but we're also looking forward for this not to be the Mumbai of the world. It has to be the whole of India.
Absolutely.
It has to bring those that are at the bottom to really benefit from this. It has to break this very unequal way in which this technological progress is being defined, because that will be the only way in which we can measure success, that the farthest away community with the most backward regions can also use and enjoy and profit from the benefits of these technologies. I think that's a challenge, not something that India has not confronted before in many other issues, but something that we will be happy to work with to advance.
That's absolutely amazing to hear. Gabriela, thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.
Great to meet you, and go forward for GPAI the next year. Okay.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, all live updates on GPAI. Keep watching MyGov.